Hello, my name is Kayla and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. This video will be the last video and more of my my longer videos, hopefully, like the story time videos. This video today will kind of be my most recent, like where I am right now, and like I'll be done telling about stuff in the past unless it's like a follow-up to something else that I already made. So in today's video, I'll be talking about my J-pouch surgery.
I gotta tell you something I could do.
Just as a disclaimer and just like so that you can have the full picture, I will be going through a 3-step J-pouch surgery process because I was really sick and my body was really tired, and just my watch may go off throughout this video. My body was just really tired, and my surgeons felt like a 3-step versus a 2-step would have a better outcome for me. So just to recap again, you probably want to go and watch at least the end of the second, well, technically it's the third video on my channel, the second video I've made when I'm talking about spending my entire month in the hospital, because it kind of shows you what led up to the surgery decision. So to kind of get into the story, I consulted with my surgeons after failing yet another treatment, and this time this is a treatment on a rescue medication known as cyclosporin. And just where I was, my hemoglobin levels had gone up because I was experiencing some comfort until I tried a steroid taper. So my hemoglobin levels had gone up. I was able to eat some foods. I wasn't going to the bathroom as much as I was before, because while in the hospital I was going upward to 8 times a day, going to the bathroom with bloody stools. And when I came home, I was maybe going around 3 to 5. So that's still a lot, but compared to what I was doing before, there was progress, and I was okay. I wasn't healthy. I wasn't at a spot where I can like stop going to the doctor for checkups every week or stuff like that, but I was well, considering when they first met me, where I was, because basically this is the same team that I've been talking to for around 2 months now, seeing and some of the people seeing them almost every day for a month while I was in the hospital. So instead, I was in there and I was very honest with them about just feeling almost like I didn't want to give up on myself, feeling that a part of me wanted to wait to see if my Stelara biologic was going to work. And they were just like, at this point, just based on experience, based on just what's been happening, they don't recommend me waiting anymore, because if the best thing about surgery, I'm sorry if you hear my mom, the best thing about, you just have I guess anybody, as a patient and as a surgeon, you feel a lot better about going into a surgery that has been planned and prepped versus having to do something as an emergency surgery because a patient's body is failing. And I was very close to that point before, like being in the hospital for a month and things like that. So just having the opportunity to have a surgery that was planned out, and to know that I was in a decent physical condition for the surgery, and just talking through all those things with my surgeons. It was a long conversation that we had about my surgery. And that was mainly the day that I went in. We just sat and we just talked, and they like pulled up a chair and I had the team in there and we just talked. And I felt like, because again, I've seen different providers, and I think like the team that I have right now, just talking to them and ultimately feeling like a human being and not feeling like I'm beneath them when I talk to them about certain things. Because at the same time, yes, these people that we talk to, they are the professionals. They have the degrees. they have the experience working and treating these conditions, but we are still the patients that have to go through these things every single day. And of course they know the body, but we know our bodies, and and just explaining to them and just really having them listen. And if something isn't right, if something feels something that they're not familiar with, they're not quick to dismiss me and just be like, oh, that must be something else, or that's just a fluke. Like I've had doctors, like while I'm in the hospital, go and like do research on stuff and then come back to me and be like, well, this is something that could possibly be going on, or they're consulting with other people, with their colleagues. So that was a little tangent, but I am very appreciative of my VCU team. Anyways, so next part. So just tie you back into what I'm saying. I have to get a 3-step J pouch surgery. I meant 3-step J pouch surgery. There is a long name for this surgery, but the word, the slang term is the J pouch surgery. So and like your J pouch doesn't have to be a J pouch. It can be like a J shape. It can be an S shape. I also have a picture of the 3-step J pouch surgery, so I will put that in too, because it's a lot easier to explain with a picture, and you see the picture references versus trying to explain them verbally when you're not aware or you're familiar with just your digestive system and what's down there. So for my surgery prep, so after going in and talking to my surgeon and them being like, well, we can have you in next Wednesday. And I was like, Wednesday? Like, that's very soon. And they're like, yeah, we can do it. So I went in like that same day. I got my labs taken when I was there. Like, we just did everything that I think we were there for over 2 hours at the doctor's office, but we just got everything done that day that we could get done. And they sent me home with my prep stuff. And the prep consists of a soap for your body, a mouthwash, antibiotics to take the day before. Yeah, I believe I took the antibiotics a day before, and they were really high dosages of antibiotics. I felt terrible. I felt really bad. And then a nose cream to kind of protect you from MRSA and stuff like that. They do these tests before, but then they also give you preventative stuff. Just in between time, but I barely had a week like in between the initial testing that I got, and of course I had to get a COVID test before the procedure. And I didn't anybody that has IBD, or I mean, even like, this happens a lot with like older individuals. They have to, because you have to get like a colonoscopy in your lifetime, just in general, I believe. But one of the most terrible things about a colonoscopy is doing the prep. It's like a liter of like a laxative, and you just have to drink all of it so that your colon is cleared out. And I was so happy that, because I was going to the bathroom so much and they were just taking out my colon anyways, I didn't have to do prep. So I didn't have to do any prep. The only thing, and I could eat up until 8 p.m. the night. Was scratching myself. 8 p.m. the night before my surgery. So I was basically eating anything, and it was coming out because I was still like flaring and stuff. And then they kept me on. They asked me which level of prednisone. This is like a side note, so I remember. They asked me which level of prednisone I felt like the most comfortable on. And it was 20 milligrams. Around that time, I could do 20, between 20 and 30, but I was okay with 20, knowing that I was getting my colon taken out anyways. And so they kept me on just 20 milligrams of prednisone. And then the morning, and they were really adamant about me staying hydrated and making sure that I was drinking. And then the morning of surgery, so like an hour before because I had to go in at around 5 a.m. Between like 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning to like get in. And my surgery was scheduled for like 7 in the morning. So like 7:30, 7:45, something like that. But I had to drink a Gatorade the morning of my surgery, and they just said to make sure it wasn't red, because red can be alarming. When they're taking stuff out, they may think it's blood, but it's not blood. It's just the dye. It's a really strong dye, and it really doesn't digest. So, getting into my actual surgery. So my actual surgery took somewhere between 4 and 5 hours, I believe. Just like, if you just calculate just from me going into the room, and just from like the time I was able to like wake up and actually like be a normal person, like actually like, because there was like times where like even after surgery I would like be up for spots and then I'd be back down while I was like still being like observed and stuff. So I got a total, to kind of give you the first step of like what I've actually gone through. So this was January 26th. On January 26th, I got a total colectomy with the ileostomy. So that's basically getting my entire colon removed, my entire large intestine removed, and then them taking a part of my small intestine and using it and creating a stoma, so that I'll poop into an ostomy bag. And I do have an ostomy bag right here, but I'm recording this video without pants on because I'm still getting used to just like the feeling of wearing pants all the time. And it's not really that comfortable. And I'm basically here by myself. Only my mom is here. My dad's at work. So I don't have on pants. Therefore, I cannot show you my ostomy bag without flashing you my underwear. And I don't feel comfortable doing that. So I will insert pictures of my ostomy. And I took like some pictures with my mom anyways this past weekend of my ostomy bag. And I got a little case from Spoonie Threads. And I'm going to, when I post this video, I'll probably post my pictures too on Instagram. I don't know. I'm just feeling a little self-conscious about like my reveal or whatnot. But I'll tag them. I'll definitely put the link to their website in the description box. And I'll make sure I tag them on my Instagram when I post it, because I have a little black case that I really like because it matched with my crop top that I had on that day. And I think it just helps too, just with, I don't know, making you feel like a little more normal with the bag. I mean, my bag now, I really like it because it was a lot with like getting used to the bag. And then there was a brand I didn't like. So the bag that I have now, I'm really like happy with what I have, but it can still feel kind of frightening going out in public and just having, because I mean, it's normal for people to look when they see something that's abnormal, but just having to deal with that and like anticipating it is a lot. But I digress, as always. So yeah, my 3 steps. So my first step, I got my entire colon removed, and I got my ostomy bag, and I got my stoma, and I poop into my ostomy bag. And basically, I only stayed in the hospital for like 2 or 3 days after. And here's the gag with my surgery. I completely failed to mention this. My mom and my sister caught COVID. So we were so afraid that I was going to get COVID. And my mom was the one that was primarily taking care of me when I was sick. So she was always around me. And so it was just by the grace of God that I didn't get COVID. So when I was in the hospital, a lot of the times, my mom didn't test negative until like the last day I was there. So she came like the last day or 2 or something like that. But my mom did come once, but at this point she was negative. But yeah, we were really, so like even back before surgery, like I would just walk around my house like in a KN95 mask with the face shield on. Like even I had a PICC line and I had to like struggle and do my flushes myself. With like one hand, but I got through it. Like I found out a system and everything, so that was okay. So right now at this point, I am waiting. I'm in recovery technically. So like there's 3 months between each stage of my ileostomy surgery. I mean, not my ileostomy surgery. What am I talking about? My J-pouch surgery. There's basically like approximately 3 months in between each step. So technically I'll be able to get, on paper, I'll be able to get my ileostomy. I mean, my next J pouch operation. Oh my gosh, my next J pouch operation at the end of April. And at that point, they'll actually go in, create my J pouch. And I got a laparoscopic surgery, which basically means that they make small incisions around your belly. And I'll take, when I post my picture of my ostomy bag, you'll be able to see the little small incisions from the camera they stick in, and I have a bikini line incision where they actually go in and take everything out instead of making a long incision down my stomach and going in an open surgery. So my next surgery, they're going to go in and make my J pouch, and then they're going to make a loop ileostomy, and with the picture you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm waiting to get that, but as of right now, since I still have my my rectum in, and my rectum, I still have disease in my rectum. My colon was more than 2/3 inflamed, so there is still colitis in my rectum, and I'm still having rectal bleeding. And my GI doctor isn't completely comfortable with taking me off prednisone with the rectal bleeding, because the bleeding can get worse, and then at that point I'll be delayed even more for surgery. So I am on a 2-week supply right now. I'm on a hold up, my mom is calling me. So right now I am on a 2-week supply of mesalamine enemas. I've tried these before, but the goal, and I failed them before, but the goal is right now, they failed me. I didn't fail them. They failed me. Let's change that. They failed me. I keep saying I failed them, but medications that didn't work for me, they failed me. I did not fail them. Where was I? I'm on a 2-week supply of the mesalamine enemas, and the hope is, because it's only a small portion of disease left, that it'll be able to work, and I give myself them every night after I eat. And I just kind of do my thing with that. To kind of talk about like post-op and what happened like right after surgery, the first 2 weeks were the worst. I was just, I think, and again, I was also still like very sick before surgery, so I was in a lot of pain. I was on Oxy, and I was on Robaxin, and then I was taking Tylenol at 100 milligrams, and I was taking ibuprofen. So I was just literally, as soon as it wore off, I was just taking it like back to back to back to back, and I was in so much pain. And it didn't, for the first 2 weeks, but really like that first week, it didn't feel like my pain meds were working at all. It really, and I felt okay in the hospital. That was a weird thing, because I was given the same meds, but it's like when I got home and I was like in my own bed and just having to do all this by myself, it seemed like they weren't working. But I could barely walk, I could barely eat. I actually lost weight. Like, even like they weighed me in the hospital before I left, but when I went to my doctor's appointment after, because I had a doctor's appointment a week after my surgery with my GI doctor. And no, because when you're kind of backtrack too, for the first couple of weeks, like every 2 weeks, I was going to see a wound care nurse. And she basically checks out your stoma, measures it, make sure that the skin around it, make sure the actual stoma, the output is looking nice, all of that. And I can go more into detail about that in a separate video. But when I was going to the doctor, I lost weight, and it was just really hard for me to walk, to get up. I was dehydrated, but after a while of just like, and it was a lot, and mentally too, I wasn't doing that well. Just feeling like really, really hopeless, and just really, really, really depressed. And I with the help of just like encouragement from my family to like walk and stuff like that, and therapy. Of course, I've been on therapy. I began therapy after the first time I was ever hospitalized for ulcerative colitis. So just with the help of just my family and therapy, and just like slowly becoming more physically active, and like with that, more strength to eat, more strength to drink. After the first pain medication I took out was Robaxin, and I took out the Oxy 2. And this happened, and basically after the first 2 weeks were the toughest, and then after that, like when I got into like my third week, because I had my surgery on the 26th, and then my birthday is March 7th. So by March 7th, I hadn't taken any like pain meds. I was walking, I was eating. I actually went out to dinner for my birthday. So just it took about a good 4 week, like a good between like January 26th and like the entirety of February to kind of feel anywhere near like normal again. But then when March rolled around, like the beginning of March rolled around, I wasn't like 100%. Like I can't go and like jump and click my heels. Even right now, I don't even think I'll be comfortable doing that. But just with like constant like motivation and just like telling myself like this is temporary, and like you're gonna get better, and like this is the hardest part, because it's basically just on like what I've read online and just like talking to my doctors. The first surgery recovery is usually the longest, because you're losing a big organ and your body has to kind of get used to working without it, and like everything kind of the scar tissue has to form and all of that. And then if you're sick before, that doesn't make anything any better. So yeah, it was a process. I'm not gonna lie, and it was not easy. It was not easy at all. It was not easy at all. And I mean, I can't say I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, because they'll be my worst enemy, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody, like unless like they're really really terrible. But yeah. So again, with that too, well, right now, like the first couple of weeks when you're out of surgery, you're still put on a low fiber diet. And if you watched any of my other videos, you know I've been on a low fiber diet for like over a year now. So that doesn't really bother me. And even now, like it's strict like the weeks, well, like the first couple of weeks after your surgery, but then you can start introducing stuff back into your diet. Like last night, I had kale greens, and I was crampy. Like there was some cramps, and I had to like massage my stomach and stuff. But like you notice it with your body, and like you can I either put notes down on my phone, or like I'm pretty good at remembering like what foods mess me up, and I eat like a lot of times when my mom cooks dinner, it's like we'll eat like, and then we have leftovers. So I'm usually eating it more than once to really know what was in my body. So like right now, I think the only thing that kind of messes me up, like why I don't consume a lot of it, is like carbonated beverages, because I just don't like the amount of gas that they give me. But yeah. So overall, like the physical and mental aspects of the surgery, I'm still grappling with them. But this week I started yoga, and I'm reading a lot of books that kind of are talking about the mind and the body, and just like being kind to yourself. And again, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy at all, and it's definitely not easy like being a teenager. Well, technically I'm an adult, but like being 19 and like having access to social media and literally seeing everybody else do what you were doing like not even a year ago, and just knowing that like you have no control over anything really, but you have no control over anything other than like you and your body and the now. And even then, like there may be things that you want to do, but physically you just can't do those things. So that's the hardest part, and that's why I say it's mental and physical, because it's tied into each other. But yeah, I'm slowly but surely on the mend. Slowly but surely. It's a process, and I think another process that's kind of hard is thinking about like as soon as I start feeling better from like the first like really feeling better, like feeling normal, again from the first surgery, it'll be time to go in again. But like, I'll be more prepared for the second one, I guess. Like, I know all like the sensations and all of that. And like, I know how to care for like my ostomy. And I got my first order of just like supplies and stuff that came in. So like, yeah, just knowing that I am a little bit more prepared, and I have support. I've had support throughout the whole journey, but just knowing that like when things get tough, like I do have people that are gonna be like, get up out the bed, walk, get those joints moving, because it got hard. It got hard and it got really, really dark. And it's very easy to feel like you're alone. And just in that whole process is very easy because you don't, it's not something, it's not a normal thing that just happens to people, especially so young. But yeah, now I'm just rambling and reflecting and like getting emotional, and let's not do that because that is disgusting. Anyways, thank you so much for listening today. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, or if it's more private, you can always DM me on Instagram at Wildflower. That's in the description box as well. I hope you guys are taking care of yourself, being kind to yourself, drinking water, meditating, doing yoga. Yoga is really cool, actually. And yeah, just in reading, I've been reading a lot. So I may start sharing my good reads if anybody wants them. I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm oversharing. But like, I guess this whole process is oversharing, right? Yeah. And I love you. And I'll see you guys in the next video, where I'll be talking about going into more detail about my mental health post-op. So I kind of touched on a little bit of what I was experiencing in this video, but I'll be going into more details in my next video. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
It's a part of the game.